I find myself getting quite overwhelmed sometimes by all of the things I want to do and get done and achieve, and my capacity to get them done, and wondering if I'm able to do all of the things. I feel like a lot of the time I am my own coach, my number one fan, my biggest cheerleader, and that is amazing and that is great. And I do have people who are also a massive part of my support system, but when it comes to doing the things that are really important to me, right now I'm playing all of those roles. I am a one-woman band right now. Also, on the other side of that, for every coach there's like a student or someone who's being coached, and sometimes that version of me comes out, the version of me that feels like I really am being stretched to the upper limit of my capacity and I don't know if I can do this. I want to first of all say, if anybody else is feeling any of those feelings at all, that is completely normal and it's absolutely fine. I want to break away from this idea that when we find what we're supposed to be doing, or we fall into something that we find makes us feel passion, that it's always going to be plain sailing and we're never going to be like, can I actually do this? That's unfeasible and unrealistic. And it's okay if you feel a little bit stuck, if you feel a little bit like you're not 100% certain if you can do this. Like, you can, don't get me wrong, but it's okay if you have moments where you're just like, oh my goodness. I also want to break away from the idea that we have to be in continuous motion all the time. I feel like sometimes our resistance to slowing down and stopping when we have those moments is what keeps us in those moments for longer. So what I did during that season of being really, really overwhelmed was I literally not refused, but I basically told myself, I'm not going to try to create anything. I'm not going to try to produce anything in relation to my passion projects until I feel all the way up to it. And I know people say you shouldn't function off of motivation, you should function off of discipline, but sometimes, for me especially, as someone who is neurodivergent, autism and ADHD, the rhetoric of discipline can often actually mean just not honouring your body and not honouring your nervous system. And it has been really important for me to honour my nervous system in order to be able to do absolutely anything at all. For anyone who's wondering, one of the ways that being autistic and having ADHD affect me is that I am PDA profile. It was initially coined as pathological demand avoidance. Don't love the term, not a fan. I have a pervasive drive for autonomy, I like to call it, but I can't necessarily force myself to do things. And I have now unsubscribed from the pressure of needing to force myself to do things. And even if you're not ADHD, even if it's just that you're struggling to get stuff done, it's okay to take your foot off the gas and give yourself a minute to recover, recoup, rest deliberately, and just look after yourself. It's okay if you are not feeling like you can produce what you want to produce to say, well, I'm not going to try then. I'm going to go away and do something else. I'm going to take a nap. I'm going to have a moment to myself where I'm not trying to force myself to be something that my brain is not really in the mood to be at the moment. I've come to the realization that every time I've taken my foot off the gas and not tried to force myself to do anything, force myself to perform, force myself to be anything, at some point down the line, the inspiration has come. The ideas have hit me. The desire to produce in those directions has found me again. And yeah, so it's okay if you are feeling a little bit stuck to just be like, well, here we are. I often tell myself, if I was willing and able, I'd be doing it. The fact that I'm not doing it tells me I am not the perfect combination of willing and able to do this, so why force it? Why force it? Oftentimes for me, forcing something when I'm not in the place to do those things has basically led me to resent the thing and find the task completely unbearable, and has made me just not do it for ages on end. And so yeah, if you're feeling stuck, understand that on some level, especially if it's something that you're passionate about and that you're building, there is no pressure to unstick yourself outside of you. You know, there's no pressure to make yourself unstuck. All you have to do is just let it pass through, and at some point inspiration will hit again. at some point you will find the feeling, you will find the magic in it all and be able to produce again or create again or whatever the case may be. But if you try and force yourself, you run the risk of building a resentment within yourself and additional resistance towards the thing. So yeah, that is it. Basically, on some level, as much as we do feel a certain level of pressure to do things and be things and to perform to time schedules, understand that, like, it's okay if you stop and you let go from time to time. Give yourself the space you need, give yourself the room that you need, and yeah, that is it from me. I hope this helps. Look after yourselves, and I'll see you in my next one. Bye.